whenever we are here, it's a time we are doing a series with English Shari, which is called as English Shari's Talk Show, where every Sunday, sharp at 7, we bring one expert tutor from English Shari family. And today is that one Sunday for you. I hope you are enjoying your Sunday, enjoying your weekend. Yes, thank you so much. So, today's conversation is going to be a special conversation because the guest for this evening is firstly a woman. So, I am always happy when I am always on the other hand. Secondly, we are here with tutor Radhika Bansal, who has more than 7 years of teaching experience. She's not just a certified English language trainer, but also a communication coach and has excelled in business English. So all of you who wish to ask your questions, stay tuned. This is going to be one such session where we'll take a lot of questions from your end, and probably one of you may even get a chance to join us in this live session as a learner and ask question live from tutor Radhika. Good evening, Radhika. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Hi everyone, and hi Shruti. How are you?
All good. Couldn't be happier. The moment I was finalizing that, okay, this time we are going to go live with you. So I was always elated to feel and have this session with you.
Same here, same here. I'm very happy to connect with the learners in one go and clarify their doubts and add some value in their learning journey.
Truly, we are going to. So, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Whatsoever questions they throw, I'm going to paste it here on you so that you can answer them. So, dear learners, before we start this session, let me give you a brief of this session, what this session is going to have. And it's going to be a brief for you as well, Ms. Radhika, because we didn't discuss this before. So,
Absolutely.
in our this one is episode number 5. If you have not watched other episodes, you can always go to our YouTube channel and search for all the other things that you've seen. If you have missed by any chance, it's always recorded and saved there. So, as it's episode number 5, we are not going to ask you about the tips and tricks to improve English because these learners are literally lazy. They are couch potatoes. They always know want to hear tips, but they don't do anything practically. I'm sure about them. So today we are going to ask you a bit about psychology of learners, what they should keep in mind when they have a conversation, and what makes somebody really a good communication coach or somebody who wants to be a speaker. So we'll try to ask you those questions which are away from grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, or presentation. All
Totally.
right.
Absolutely. Great.
So I also expect all of you doing the same. You can ask your questions. I see Raj Bahindra saying hi. English with Suman says good evening. All good evening. Learning Lighthouse. I remember you. You were there in the last episode as well. Shehmad. Then Faisal, thank you so much for joining. Okay, somebody says I'm from Pakistan. Thank you so much for joining us, Faisal. And we are equally excited. So before we start, I hope I don't have to request you that if you enjoy our content, you have to do one ritual, which is like this live session, and make sure you comment and stay with us throughout. All right. Now, without further delays, let's know a bit about you, Tutor Radhika. I want to know one thing. What matters to you when you speak to somebody in English? What is that one thing
Just
which is like, oh, I should have this at least?
understanding of the listener. That's most important for me. If I am able to deliver my message in the best way possible without missing anything and making sure, no matter whom I'm talking to, if I'm able to get through and I'm able to deliver the message properly, that is what is the most important thing which I keep in my mind whenever I speak in English or any other language. That's the most important focal point.
Okay, all right. So the moment I asked this question, let me tell you a backstory why I asked this question. Many times when we are in a conversation, person feels that it's just me who's responsible in the conversation. I just have to talk, 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 and the other person would probably nod the head. How important it is for somebody to understand that when you are in a conversation, there has to be a ratio of speech.
There has to be, otherwise, it will become a one way conversation, and the real purpose of conversation is exchange of ideas. We are not ordering anyone. There has to be, it can be that one person is a prominent speaker, other one is not that prominent speaker, but still, the acceptance, the understanding, and that is what I tell my learners also. Hey, please check out the facial expressions of the person who is listening to you, whether he is there with you or not. So it is very important that we maintain a proper balance. If it is not exactly 50-50, but as I mentioned, understanding is the key. We should make sure that whenever we are speaking, we are giving enough chance and enough space for the other person to speak. That's one thing. And secondly, when we are speaking, it shouldn't be too fast, it shouldn't be full of that vocabulary which he or she is not able to understand. So there needs to be it should be made sure that the other person is able to understand the message clearly. That's truly crucial.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll ask you my follow-up question on the thought that you've mentioned here. Let's ask our learners in the chat box, write what you feel whenever you're in a conversation. Do you think you're on a dominant side where you are the one who speaks a lot, or you feel yourself to be on a listening end? Are you a good speaker or a good listener? Write that first. Okay. So I've seen a lot of learners, and I'm talking not just from a perspective of English speaking, I'm talking in general conversation. Many times people lose the track. They feel it's a performance going on. If I am talking to Radhika, I have to focus on what I want to say. They don't focus on what Radhika has to add on in the conversation.
Correct.
So it becomes
Yes.
one way and then there's no connection. They feel, oh, I can speak in English. It's not about speed. What about the connect? So how do you build that connection with somebody? For example, when I
Uh,
talk to you, I don't have to put in efforts. It's just one go. Okay, she would understand, I can understand her, and then we are on same page. How do you build
correct.
that?
First thing, as I already mentioned, make sure that you are taking note of facial expressions, because the moment you lose track, the other person will also be distracted, and that is very clearly visible on the facial expressions. So it is very important to take a key note of facial expressions. On the same side, don't be on a Shatabdi Express. In the sense, speak at such a pace that other person is able to follow. And if possible, you can ask a question also. I hope we are on the same page. Yeah, are you getting me? So that you get some sort of a response from the other side to make sure that yes, we are actually understanding each other and the conversation is going positively and we are not going off track. So, getting confirmation from the other side, noting the facial expressions, and pausing appropriately in order to make sure the person is able to digest whatever you are speaking. So, these are three things that we can keep in our mind and make sure that it's a great conversation, not just a one way flow. That's what we can do.
That's really a good point, and I think they should also hear it from this perspective. We are always thinking about grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. See, these are some of the pillars which are you are trying to improve on so that you can be better at communication. But why aren't we talking about the communication itself? As you
Right.
mentioned, when you're talking, listen, understand the psychology. Has it ever happened with you? You're talking to somebody, and by looking at that person, you thought, okay, he is not actively listening to me. Have
Yes,
you
it,
been in that
yes.
situation?
Yes, exactly. I was talking to my friend and I was telling a very long story, an important story, and all of a sudden she ordered coffee from nowhere, out of blue moon. I mean, what? So it does happen. So there can be a reason, maybe the topic that you have picked up that is not of the interest of the person. Or maybe that is the reason why person is not paying attention. So that's why it's very important that we pause and we make sure the other person is actually listening, and that will give us also a reliever to rethink and to make sure that we put ourselves in the best way possible. So, this pausing strategy, which I'm telling in between, that is not only important for the listener, that is important for the speaker as well, and to maintain a positive conversation going. So, this pausing is really very important.
Hmm. Okay, and when you have to pause, the sense of pause should be there in you. I see some people at the start of the sentence, if there's a pause, seems very awful, it seems dead. That, okay, what is he trying to say, what he's trying to build? That's true. One of the learners named Rajiv Ranjan has asked that, what do we need to do to be fluent in English? Now, I want you to explain this from a perspective where they can actually be good at communication, not just be good at one particular thing at a time. What is the definition of fluency? Let's ask you this way. What is the definition of fluency in your mind?
I will focus on that fluency is not about speed. Many people believe that if I'm speaking very fast, that is what is the meaning of being fluent. No, that's not the correct definition, or that's not what fluency actually means. The meaning
Okay.
of fluency is that we are speaking at such a pace where we are comfortable, we are not breathless ourselves. I have seen many learners getting breathless. I said, what happened? Calm down. So, you do not have to get breathless, you don't have to speak at that pace. And on the same side, you have to make sure that you maintain a consistent eye contact with the listener so that you can make out whether I am able to get my message correct or not. So these are
Mm-hmm.
the two things which we have to keep in mind whenever we have to understand fluency. First is we are not breathless, and the second one, the listener is able to understand what we are trying to say or what we are trying to share. So if we keep these two things in our mind, I think we will understand the definition of fluency in the whole in totality.
Okay, and imagine I am one such learner who's watching you live. Okay, and you told me that we have to be cautious of the pace we speak in. How do I check whether I speak at a fast pace, slow pace, or a moderate pace?
Here, it's very important the intensity of the topic that you are talking about. Yeah, at
Okay.
times the topic can be a little difficult, and you have some intricate ideas to share. In that situation, I will suggest go a little slow. And in case the topic is general, you can go a little faster. But at the same point of time, you have to make sure that the other person is understanding. Why communication fails is, as you also mentioned, people believe it's a one sided performance, and that's the reason why it fails. So when to pause, how much to pause, is all dependent on to make sure that you are able to make the listener understand. When you will speak with this perspective, even if you listen to the public speakers, great speakers, they always pause and connect with the audience, and they make sure the audience is along with them. Why? Because they are not speaking for themselves, they are speaking for the audience. So, if you want to get a correct idea when to pause, it is just that you confirm with the person who is listening to you or the audience right in front of you. That is going to give you a right answer when to pause and when to go on. So, that's how we can decide.
Exactly. See, whenever we are in this journey of improving our communication skill, we do not pay attention on these small things: tonality, pace, presentation, facial expression, as you said. But when somebody in your room, in your circle tells you, makes you aware about it, that's when you start thinking in that direction. For example, for me, I
True.
remember for longest time I had this in my mind that I speak at a great pace and I have good voice so I can modulate well. But once my tutor said that, Shruti, it doesn't feel that you are speaking. What's so dead in it? You're not reciting a poetry that you have to say in a rhythm. The topic demands something else. That one comment from her made me shape myself in a completely different thing. So all I needed was somebody to point that out. So has it ever happened with you in your sessions that you're talking to learners, you tell them and they're shocked, oh ma'am, you're the first one telling me this. I didn't knew that I didn't know that I have to focus on this thing at all. Have you seen such
Uh,
instances?
no, actually, opposite has happened. When I tell people or when I tell learners, hey, you are speaking very fast, you need to work on your rate of speech. Ma'am, I know, but I cannot do it. It's natural. That is the comment that comes from their end, and they're absolutely right. Because there are certain people from certain region, they are used to speaking fast. That's what it is, and they
Okay.
can't help it. But then I tell them that you have to consciously tell yourself, go slow. Before you start speaking, tell yourself to go slow. So, never such experience happened. Then somebody told me that you are the first one to point that out. With me, it's always, ma'am, I know, but I don't know how to overcome this. So, conscious effort to actually calm you down, slow yourself down, that is what I suggest them. And I think our learners can also take benefit out of it.
Yes, you should analyze firstly yourself. You can sit and try
Correct.
looking at yourself. How do you speak? For example, there's always a difference of speech. When I talk to a friend, my speech would be little different. When I talk to my boss, my space would be little different. So yes, in different scenarios, you do have a different pace, but that's the
True.
overall beauty of communication. I
True.
mean,
Correct. Yes.
and when I listen to you, you speak at a really composed pace. You know how do I control it. Can I know a bit about your learning journey now? I'm sure our learners would be excited to know how tutor Radhika Bansal is able to have a hold on her speech and her rate of speech.
Mhm.
How did you learn
Absolutely.
this?
Yes, I do not consider it to be a one-way performance, as we started our discussion with. For me, it is about understanding it myself also and making the other person also understand. It is not that just I speak or utter the words. I make it a point that whatever thought I am putting forward, I am understanding it myself also. And when that happens automatically, I am able to control my pace. And that's what I keep in my mind whenever I have to decide when to pause, how much to pause. So I understand myself, I listen to my own self. And that's what I tell my learners also. Please don't utter words. Please make sure that you are listening to your own self also, so that you don't lose track and you know what's the right rate of speech. So that's how it is.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there was a story which I read once, I think in my childhood. There was a question first and then a story that have you ever thought why God gave you two ears and just one mouth? And the answer beautifully was written that it is given to you to listen more and speak
Correct.
less. So the moment you start listening more to yourself, you will start refining your skills as well. So that's what you said. Start listening to
Absolutely.
what you are speaking. You are the best one who can give feedback to yourself and be honest. At least to you, you can be honest for sure,
Yes,
isn't it?
absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I would like to share an anecdote over here.
Please.
Sometimes when learners are not ready to understand that we have to listen, I do a debate with them. What's more
Okay.
important, speaking and listening? And believe me, Shruti, 95% of the people choose listening. And at the end, I say, that's what you also have to do, dear. And then they are able to realize it so beautifully that I can see the results from the next session itself. So listen to yourself. That's very important.
So you don't teach them directly or you don't tell them directly that, hey,
No,
start, you have to listen more. So firstly you do a debate on that topic
yes,
and then
correct.
get that out of them
Correct.
as the answer.
Because
Wow.
actually, I believe everything is there in the learners. They are adult learners and they have understanding. But the point is, they are not able to apply the same. And I am a very big fan of situational learning. When we learn from situations, that's the best way how we can learn. And that's what I apply in my sessions also. And in fact, in all the sessions of English Shari. So, situational learning is something that I follow, and that makes a lot of difference.
Now I'm curious and inquisitive at the same time. I want to ask you or share me some more things that you do with learners. One is this is exciting. What else?
Yes, absolutely. Many times, what happens is learners tell me, I do not have ideas. A very big problem, a very common problem. Ma'am, I'm not able to generate ideas. I say, okay, fine. You know about yourself, you know about your life, you know about your past experiences. So let's talk about you. So, whenever, if anyone is there who's facing this problem that I do not have the ideas how to explain, just talk about yourself, about your experiences. Like just a few days back, I told one of the learners, hey, you have to sit down. As a homework, I gave that to him, that you have to sit down, you have to think about your college days. And you have to pull
Okay.
out two memories which you still cherish, and you have to tell me everything what happened on that day. Even you have to include what color shirt you were wearing that day. You have to go so much in detail. So, this is one thing whenever my learners face this problem that I am not getting the ideas, I leave all the topics. I just tell them, let's talk about your past, present, and future, and you will be perfect in tenses. So, that's my strategy to teach tenses to them, talking about their life in their words.
And this takes me back to my childhood, means as homework was given in school, and
Yes.
English tutors were always creative in giving homeworks. For example, write about one day where you had excitement, or a night before your trip. I remember that was a topic given.
Yeah,
Now, a
correct.
night before trip, you want everyone in family would say, please sleep. Tomorrow you have to wake up early. But out of excitement, you're not able to sleep. Yeah,
True, correct.
you're
That's what
thinking,
it
have
is.
I packed everything or not? And then she would say, tomorrow, I want to hear this from you. So we were not excited, okay, I have to share my experience. We were more excited, I have to share my experience with the tutor and let's see how tutor feels. So when you make somebody accountable in your journey, things become very easy, isn't it?
Exactly. Absolutely. And that is what I tell my learners also. Mom, I am working on this for 2 years, for 3 years, it's not working out. I tell them, hey, let's talk. Were you consistent in these 2 years? Were you consistent in these 3 years? Did you work on the feedback part? And believe me, they never feel offended. They say, no, ma'am, there is something missing from my end. So, accountability is the key. And no matter what's the age of the learner or when we have started learning, if we will be accountable, we will be able to see the real results. And English Harry has been creating results like this, isn't it?
Absolutely. We are always happy and excited to hear stories of learners in the comments. They always write such a beautiful things. Sushma Rai has said that Radhika ma'am is truly an amazing tutor. Okay, I imagine this learner to be your regular learner now.
She is.
Okay. Oh wow! So there's a question by Atul Sonawalan. Says, "I am facing difficulty while preparing sentences in English. So what should we need to do to make correct sentences?" Means his idea is how should he start creating correct English sentences? What's the basic?
Atul, never try to make sentences in the first go. First, try to understand the idea that you want to share. What happens is we do not try to understand the overall idea that we want to share and we directly skip to making sentences. And that's the reason when we struggle. So, my first point will be you just write, for example, you have to make 5 sentences, just write 5 words, 1 word for each sentence. And after that, try to make the sentence and keep it short, 4 to 5 words at the max. So, understand the idea, write a word for each sentence, and then start making sentences. I know whenever I share this strategy, learners have a dull face because they feel it's a very slow strategy, it's a very slow process. Stick to this process for 3 to 4 months, and then the speed will be unmatchable. So please
Can
make
you give
sure
any
that you clear the
example for
idea.
that? Can you give any example?
Absolutely.
How do you think about the idea, then the sentence, or how do they get the word and then the sentence? All these three things.
Yeah, for example, yesterday I was discussing one of the topics that how you celebrated your birthday last year. So she had so much to share. But I said that, hey, tell me what was the biggest and the most prominent emotion that you were feeling? I thought she will say happy, but it was emotional. So the moment she got this word, emotional, then I told her that think what made you emotional. She said the birthday cake, what was written on the birthday cake. So, what was written on the birthday cake? She started speaking from there. So, the journey started from emotional, cake made her emotional, and then she started describing about her cake. If I would have directly asked her, discuss about the cake, she will say, oh, it was a vanilla flavor, XYZ, and that's it. But now she's into that zone of emotion. She is over there, and now she's telling me every nitty gritty of the cake. So get the emotion, like she got emotional, what made her emotional, and then describing that, deep diving into that topic. That's how it works.
Thank you so much for sharing this. The reason I asked you this is because many times learners are like, okay, I have to make sentences, I have to get words. But when you focus on the structure, you don't have to look at things as if they are the mountain. Okay, mountain, fluency mountain. How do I say? You have
No.
to chunk it down, space it up, and you
Yes.
will see that you are able to come up with that thought process. And that's so cool. You came with an idea, emotion, and then the person can definitely go. Otherwise, they feel I have to talk on this topic. Let me form sentences
Yes.
on the topic.
Correct.
Neither they
Exactly.
get thoughts nor they are able to form sentences. And then they come
And
to us saying, I don't have thoughts. I am not able to form sentences. Isn't it?
correct. Absolutely, that's the point. And even one of my regular learners, now he's there with me for around 1.5 years now. When he started his journey, he was at the same pace, and now we actually discuss about cricket, IPL, everything possible. We discuss the advanced level topics also. He's comfortable because he's able to imagine his own self in that situation. And when you are able to do that, idea generation is much more faster. But this didn't happen in one day. It took him a long time, great consistency. So it works. If I summarize, work on the emotion, get the word, and then try to form sentences, your journey will become a little easier. That's what I can vouch for.
Yeah. They say good things take time. So be
Yes.
patient.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't it? Wow,
Correct.
that's cool. It's always great to talk because I feel when somebody is in the conversation, many times you talk about things that you've never thought of. As you
Correct.
mentioned, birthdays. I can guarantee this learner would have never thought about birthdays from this perspective,
Absolutely not.
emotion, things, what made her emotional, all those things. But a good conversation is all it takes to unlock. How with friends we are able to talk so much from where you get thoughts. It's
Yes,
all
because they
because of
are emotionally connected. That's the point. So connect yourself to your words, to your thoughts, and you will be able to speak much more fluently.
hmm. Yes, that's true. There's a learner called Rajiv says, how can we learn different types of sentences formation as well as grammar? Correctness. Okay, so firstly we have discussed a question for people who were like we are not able to form sentences. Now all of you know the three-step approach in order to form sentences. Now he's asking how do we work on different types of sentences. Once they are done with basics, what is the next step?
Again, I'll say don't go sentence wise. Now, in the second stage, you have to go structure wise. Now,
Okay.
now your purpose is not just to say one sentence, but a complete thought you want to share. So, I always tell my learners understand the structure, and the structure is that you have to introduce. After that, you have to give the example, whatever topic you are discussing about, and after that, you can summarize. And when you will follow this structure, you do not have to specifically think, oh, let me make a simple sentence, let me make a complex sentence, let me make a compound sentence. Please don't categorize communication like this. It is all about sharing your ideas. So understand the structure, and it is not only for my learners. I also do the same. Like if my learners would have observed, I said let me summarize. So I always do that so that I am able to get the things clear. So Rajiv, you can understand the structure. First, make sure whatever topic in this world you are discussing, you introduce. After that, you can give your own opinion or example or experience, and after that you can summarize. And make sure that you are speaking what is relevant. You might have 1000 thoughts, but you do not have to share 1000 thoughts. You have to pick up top 2 or 3 and share them. That's it. You are feeling overwhelmed, that's why you are asking this question, you are stuck here. So my suggestion will be just pinpointedly choose 2 to 3 important points and then go ahead and speak out following the structure of intro, experience, opinion, and then summarize. Follow this and do let us know how your experience was.
I wish I could know so easy things back then when I was learning, and that too in a structural format. All of you should take a note of it because not every time you get tutor Radhika to have this discussion, unless you are a daily learner. Okay,
Yes.
I was controlling my laughter the moment you said that nobody is going to ask you whether it's a compound sentence or
Yes.
complex sentence. That's so
Exactly.
true. If I'm having a conversation with you, I'm literally not thinking what sort of sentences or conditionals right now she's applying. The
No,
idea
not at
is
all.
what is she trying to say? What point she wants to make here? So that's really interesting. Please get this out of your head that you have to learn sentences, follow the structure. First sentences, the second letter now is follow the structure. Four methods, four steps. Anyone in the chat box who was listening to us carefully, I want you to summarize it up and I would love to talk to you. Let's see if you were actively listening then.
Yeah, that's a
So,
great one.
yeah, Tutor Radhika, you, I don't know if you remember, just few minutes ago, you mentioned about a learner who took around 1 year and finally he's able to express more, he's able to speak more, right? So, one learner has asked a question that can you tell me how long would it take for me to speak in English? How much time would it take? Prasad has asked. Prasad is in awe. She has mentioned 1 year. Please, can you shed some light on this?
Okay. Prasad, here I do not want to give you any wrong answer that, okay, Prasad, you can do it in 3 months or you will do it in 3 years. No. I will have to see two things over here. First of all, what is the stage, what is the level where you are at the moment? And secondly, as I mentioned in the beginning, consistency is the mantra. Until and unless you are consistent in the practice, you will not be able to make it, no matter how many years you've been working on that. Okay, so first make sure that you understand your right level, because I have seen people, they don't understand their level and they pick up a book which they are not able to understand. So please don't do that. First, make sure you have a correct analysis with some tutor or somebody who can tell you what is your correct level right now, how the journey will be, and accordingly you will be able to decide. Maybe it works for you in 6 months, maybe. It all depends on where you are right now, what is the aspiration, and how consistent you are ready to be in this journey. That's going to be my answer. I'm sorry, I can't quote a number because it will not be a correct answer for this. So I can't quote a number.
Absolutely.
Understand your level. That's important.
Once you are aware, things would be easier for you. You can
True.
definitely have a look at your journey for sure, right?
True.
Okay, there's a learner. Firstly, let me ask you this thing. Is there any particular age of learning a language? Means if I'm grown up, is it tough for me to learn anything new in life? What do you feel?
Wow, what a question. Yesterday, I got a chance to connect, not yesterday, last week, I got a chance to connect with one of the learners. Yes, his age was 68 years.
Wow.
68. Okay. So it doesn't matter. I agree that when we are young, we have only one thing to do, and that is to keep learning things. That's why the process is a little faster. But even at this age, when we are mature, we are able to understand the things deeply. If we are consistent and we have this mindset that I have to learn no matter what without pressurizing yourself, people put themselves in pressure and then they feel, oh, I am mature, I am adult, and that's why I'm not able to learn. Please do not pressurize yourself. Be consistent, and it doesn't matter whenever you start, you can still learn any language for that matter. The age is
Mm-hmm.
just a number in anything you do. And same for
It's,
language learning also.
there's a learner who goes by the screen name Entertain English, says age is just a number. Well, the reason I asked this question was there's a learner named Jay, and the person said that, ma'am, I'm 27. Is it too late for me to learn English? And I hope, Jay, you got your answer now. Absolutely, there's no age. And if you can think or imagine this way, you would feel content. Imagine I wanted to learn English, and maybe I wanted to learn English when I was in my grade 3 or grade 4. I would not have better understanding of the language, so I would do everything my parents, my family members, relative tutors would say, and learn literally how people learn grammar, vocabulary, all those
True.
things. But if
Correct.
I could learn now, imagine I didn't know this language, but if I could learn now, don't you feel I have a sensible mind to process things, what is actually important for me? Back then in schools, we were all taught grammar rules. But now, when I look back and I want somebody to learn English, I would never teach them rules. I would
Absolutely
probably
agreed.
teach them the concepts. So, this is like a blessing in disguise. If you could not learn
Exactly.
English in your school days, at least now
Hmm.
you are able to. And that too with a wise mindset, isn't it?
Hmm. Absolutely. And now at this age, you can become more accountable also. At that time, our parents were accountable for the homework. Now we can be accountable. So the journey is going to be better only with this mature age. So the age is just a number. Don't worry about that.
Truly, I see around 50 plus learners who are watching us currently live. I want you all to make sure that you have subscribed to our channel and stay in touch, because your excitement always boosts our confidence to come back with exciting tutors and exciting conversations. See, the idea is simple. As I told you at the starting of the session, every time if you just listen how to improve vocabulary, how to improve grammar, you would stay in this same cycle. You would not get out
Correct.
of it. Today, you're learning a different perspective. Initial start of the session, tutor Radhika mentioned what is important in conversation, that is understanding. Then, importance of listening. When you are in a conversation, how much part is played by you and how much is played by the other person. Then how do we work on sentences, from sentences, from how we can form the structures. So we are working on making you smarter and better, not just go with the same rules whole YouTube or Instagram is flooded with. So it's new
Correct.
information. Please take a note of it. Yes. Amazing. All right, I am looking for more questions. All of you can definitely post. Meanwhile, they are posting their questions, tutor Radhika.
Yes.
uh, when I talk to somebody, my first point is the person comfortable with me? Or am I relatable to that person? The reason I am able to think this now is because in many conversations, I just spoke, I came, and then I realized it wasn't a good conversation. You know, imagine you talk to a friend of yours. After, once the phone disconnects, you are in a good space. Oh wow, it was a good conversation. But if you have the same call with somebody else who's not that connected with you, you feel drained.
Correct.
That, oh
Yes.
god, finally from 1 hour she was talking to me. Yeah. So I was analyzing constantly, why does this happen? Right. So what is the true essence of speaking? Do we have to always involve emotions, or do we have to be really practical in the conversation? What do you say, what's important while speaking?
Okay.
How do we get that
Now,
beautiful expression?
yes, exactly. So now that depends on whom we are talking to and what's the context of the entire conversation. Because there are certain things where we can go emotional and we can say whatever we want. That time, the language, the words, that will be different. But when we are talking in a formal setup, then it is going to be absolutely different. So we have to make sure in both the scenarios. The listener is not bored. That's one thing. Second, we are able to get our message through. And on the same side, maybe it's easy for us, but it's not easy for them to understand. So we have to use easier words, easier sentences. Like, for example, whenever I talk about this topic of online shopping, believe me, Shruti, there are 4 to 5 levels at which I can discuss this topic with learners, depending on what is the level of that learner, and every time it's going to be a wow conversation. So you need to understand that you choose the right words, you get the listener along, because as you asked me, what is the essence of the entire conversation? And that is to get the message right so that everyone, both the parties are happy at the end of the conversation. So getting the listener along is very important. That's the essence, according to
Yes.
me.
Yeah. And a similar note, what I've realized is whenever you're talking, have a hold of one thought at a time. Don't try to achieve a lot from one point. Imagine I want to tell you about my shopping experience, my studies, and maybe what am I doing currently in one go. It would be flooded. So you have to check, what do I want to say from here? After this, where would like to track this conversation? So yeah, what
True.
at the end, the a sense of good conversation is how better you're able to connect on the personal level.
True.
Yeah.
Correct.
Let's talk to you about business communication now. We have been talking about conversation, business communication. What is business communication? What is business English, and how different it is from normal English conversations?
Okay, see, when we talk to our friends, when we talk to our family members, the choice of words can be different. But when we are in a formal setup and as we have categorized English as business English, I'll just say one thing, and that is to be polite and to be easily understandable. In these 2 words, I can define business communication or business English, because when it comes to a corporate setup, being polite and being humble is very important, no matter whatever emotion is going inside. Previously I was talking about emotion, but now you have asked me a question about business communication, so here politeness is more important in comparison to emotion. Emotion can be any, but we need to be polite, we need to be concise, very important, which people forget at time. We need to be concise, and we should be very simple in the words that we are using so that understanding is not hampered. So these are the things that we have to keep in our mind whenever we talk about effective business communication.
We have a lot of learners, and even this YouTube family, whenever we come live, some of the names are now just saved in my brain because I see them every Sunday.
Correct.
So a lot of them are the ones who are working professionals. They're already working somewhere, and equally they want to work on their communication. Is the journey for someone who wants to be good at business English different from somebody who's just trying to improve his normal English, conversational English, or the journey
Actually,
is same somehow?
journey is actually intertwined according to me. Many people come to me and they tell me, Radhika or Radhika ma'am, I want you to train me for business English. I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. But first, I just want to chit chat with you. I want to talk to you. Because until and unless I'm sure that person is fine in English, I cannot directly start business conversation or business English all of a sudden. So
True.
the foundation is when you have basic understanding about the language, and while you will be learning basic language, we will tell you the etiquettes, the politeness that I was talking about, and then the situational and the situations come where we train you specifically for business English. So the two journeys are not different from another, but they are intertwined, and I would say the second one is dependent on the first one. You can be a good person speaking very well in the formal setup only when you are generally a good speaker in English. So first focus on the basic English, and after that you can step up the ladder and you can go to business communication.
Yes. And if I could add on, already you have summarized it beautifully. If I could add on, is try to work on yourself. When I say
True.
self, it means what kind of personality do you hold? Not talking about how do you look, it's about how you think, about your thought process and the choices you make in life. I've met amazing speakers. When they speak beautifully. They are just every time always present in the moment, but yet I'm not able to feel that connected with them. However, on the other side, when I meet people, through their personality I feel, oh, they're so modest, they're so humble, and you're always inclined. So try to be the one who is a blend of all, not just good at communication but good by heart as well. isn't it?
Correct. That's very important. Personality and communication goes hand in hand. That's the true fact.
Yes. Yeah, so I heard somebody, and even in the chat box, one of the learners asked a question that how can I speak like you? So this is a common question. How can I speak like you? How can I speak like Priyanka Chopra? How can I speak like Sushmita Sen and whatnot? Why comparison is wrong? And how can you be better at the language is my question now to you. Why one should not
Absolutely.
compare?
That Absolutely. This reminds me of the fact when I used to feel that I want to talk like Michelle Obama because I really like the way she talks.
Okay.
So it's not about imitation. First of all, there is no need to talk like me. You can take tips, you can take tricks, maybe you can understand the structure. That's fine. But you have your own style, and in fact, everyone has their own style. And if you will compare, you will never be able to reveal or you will never be able to understand your own style, and that will hamper your overall journey of English fluency or English language. So never compare, otherwise, it will hamper your English language journey. Don't do that. And on the same side, if you really appreciate the way someone talks, someone speaks, someone gives any speech, you can try to understand that what's the key emotion. Like I gave the example of Michelle Obama, she always connects with a smile, no matter even if it's a difficult question. So I like this trait, so I followed that, but it doesn't mean that I will imitate her completely. So don't go in imitation. Don't think I want to speak like her. Just make sure that I want to speak English nicely, but in my own style because I have my own style, which is the unique one. So never try to copy, never try to imitate. It's gonna hamper your overall confidence and learning journey.
Yes, that's such a great point because when you are speaking, I remember one of the tutors. Now, this person, when I met him, he's an English language trainer at English Shari, by the way, not going to reveal the name. So I was asking him normally, he said, do you get this question? Oh, I want to be like you. So he said, yeah, of course. But then I say, if you want to be like me, follow everything that I had. Can you have same parents? No, sir. Can you have same lifestyle I had? No. Same surroundings? No. When you can't have everything I had, how would you be able to be like me? Exactly. Your surroundings were
Absolutely.
different. Mine are completely different. There's no comparison at all. So
Absolutely
stop
true.
saying people I want to be like you. Be a better version of yourself. That was my
That's
learning
true.
from his words.
So
And today
beautifully explained.
you've got that attention on this. Okay, so now everyone, you are unique in your own way. So please don't try to imitate or copy somebody. You can be the best version of yourself. There's one common practice in English language which is called shadowing, right? I'm sure you also suggest some people. So nowadays there's a trend, or I've seen people saying that, okay, you play any video, now pause it, whatsoever they have repeated, saying their own wave, their own structure. Does this actually help? If yes, how? And what can be some of the disadvantages of this practice? Once I want to ask this from you. Of shadowing, as
This
this learner
practice,
asked, yeah,
yeah, please,
just
please.
so sorry for you. This
No,
learner
no, no.
asked, will watching movies help me? Mohit Gupta is the learner. So I'm trying to ask you this way because while watching movies, people try to imitate. So, what would be the better approach from your end?
Uh, I am not saying that this method is not going to work at all. Initially, it can work, but make sure that you do not lose your identity and your opinion while you are just imitating what they are saying. Yes, try to understand the crux. And instead of watching a movie, if you will watch a short clipping, and then you will try to illustrate in your own words, adding your own opinion also, that will be much more better in comparison to just copy pasting what the other person has said. So initially, it can help, but as I mentioned, don't lose your opinion part because conversation or communication becomes impressive when we add our own opinions also into it. So whatever you read, whatever you watch, whatever you listen, please make sure that you analyze and then you put your opinion also. You can talk to your own self, as I always tell my learners. Talk to your own self, tell yourself your own opinions, and that's going to help you out. So, initially, this method can work, but please make sure that you just don't copy. You also have your own unique ideas and you have your own unique opinions every single time in every single scenario. That's important.
Yeah, so what you were saying is don't just follow shadowing, but you have added something extra to it. That okay, if you
Yes,
have watched something, that's good. Your watching part is done. Now summarize in your own words.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
So this way you're not even copying, yet learning something and being better at it. Wow, that's good. Try to have this alteration, and I think there's a learner who has written that be yourself, don't copy others. Interactive English
yes,
by Kesar. Yes, that's what you were trying to say. That be your
yes,
own self. I'm sure
yes,
nobody would like. Oh, you speak like Shah Rukh Khan. I'm sure you would
yes.
not like that.
Nobody, nobody. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you speak like this. We can definitely look alike to somebody, but we cannot sound or behave or say something exactly how people say because you have different brain and different thought process. Right?
And sometimes when we blindly imitate, we end up using wrong words, wrong facial expressions, and we don't even realize that. Because what Shah Rukh Khan does, we cannot do in our real life. Yes, what
And
Shah
what
Rukh
we
Khan
can
is
do,
doing
Shah Rukh
to.
Khan cannot.
Exactly, that's true. That's what we were talking about, and the learner also summarized. We all are unique, and let's respect that unique identity. That's important.
Yeah, so be proud. So I hear people fantasizing and saying that, have you seen Shashi Tharoor? He makes new words and be so creative. I said, what he does, you cannot do, and what you do, he cannot. So be happy.
Absolutely. Correct.
We can get motivated by somebody, but don't get that much influence where you feel I want to imitate this guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that imitation will not go a long way. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to lead your own life within your own style, so only your version is going to work. Imitation is not going to take you a long way. That's also something that you have to take care of.
Yes, and Prasad says that shadowing is something which I get bored. And now you will not get bored because Tutor
Yes.
Radhika has suggested you something which is an extension to the shadowing method. Watch something, watch a clip, and then start speaking that in your term. And Tutor Radhika, you won't believe, recently I was recording a video for our learners. So I would not reveal what's the topic, and the video would be live soon for all of you.
Mhm.
And I've said the same thing that back in childhood there was one story. Let me see through your facial expression if you know the story. Have you heard the story of a thirsty crow?
Of course,
Yeah,
everyone.
we all have, right? And I was
Yes,
telling that why do we remember this story? Number one, it had emotions, and stories are anyways interesting.
true, correct.
A boring lecture, you forget it. But if the teacher has taught you stories, you'll remember the stories. And I was able to remember the ear and the mouth story. So I said,
Mhm.
listen to a short story. Nowadays, there's so many stories that you short stories you can listen. Now, once you've listened to the story, pause it, retell the story in your own words. That
Correct.
would be like a test. Okay, I've done my listening practice. Am I able to speak? Am I able to express? Otherwise, what would you do with the excess of information? Isn't it?
Exactly. That is what is the key. And in fact, now when I look back, I realize this was the method that I was also using unintentionally. I used to do it for all my answers, for all the things that I do. I always
Mhm.
used to read it once, just keep it on one side, and then it was I me myself that I will express it in my own way, in my own style. And that is how unintentionally, unknowingly, I started explaining the things a little nicely. So learners can definitely do that, and there will be one more benefit of this, that they will become opinionated and critical analysts also, where they can actually take the conversation to a higher level. They will
Well
not
said.
feel, oh, I don't have any idea, because it's your opinion and you can justify. You will put all the efforts. I've seen in my debating sessions, learners are, ma'am, you are wrong, we are right. Let us prove ourselves. So just go for it, and you will literally enjoy the entire learning process.
Yes. I cannot tell you that the moment we started this session, I wasn't thinking we'll go in this direction. As nothing is
Correct.
planned, things go as per the interest of the learners. But
Hmm.
unintentionally, we have covered a different segment today.
True.
This session, episode 5, was a session where we wanted you to understand language beyond your basic limitations or basic problems. How do you understand? How do you speak? Some of the tricks that we shared with you, a lot of things were shared because, as you said, when you were doing it unintentionally. Now, while practicing with your learners, you can name them, you can give them
Yes.
structures. So
Yes.
whatever she said is tried and tested, not just in her life, she has tested on thousands of learners on the platform. So you can definitely
Correct.
rely on what she said.
In
Can we
fact,
rely
there's
on this?
absolutely, absolutely. In fact, one story is coming to my mind. Now there are
Please.
some learners who specifically say, "Ma'am, that is what internet says, or that is what is the general idea of the society. But I would like to share my take on this. I would like to share my opinion on this, and then let's discuss." So yes, and then they are able to discuss much more. So what is known to everyone, maybe they will speak for 2 minutes, but when they are justifying their own opinion, they are able to stretch it for 20 minutes also. So that's not a big deal. Make sure that you put your opinion and extend it a little more.
Exactly. That's what we should cover up. And you, all the learners who are watching us, more than 50, 57 people, more than 57 people are watching us live currently. Firstly, kudos to you. I'm always amazed to see that they are super sincere and they want to genuinely learn the language. That's why they come every
Correct.
Sunday to hear from
Yes,
the tutors.
true.
And you all are showing love, so I generally don't see this, but let me say as well that our love for you is limitless. Literally, when we come here, we don't plan it. We feel let's go and try to tap in what nobody talks about. That's why
Correct.
tutors come into picture. You hear from, it's not that okay, tutor Radhika is saying what comes to her mind. No, she's saying from her expertise, then what she has preached. Many times you teach something and then you don't believe in it. No, she does that in the session. So if you want to have session with her, feel free. You just have to download the English Diary app, book your session anytime you wish to with tutor Radhika, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of not tips but practical exercises in the session. Am I right?
Absolutely. I just want to speak 20% of the session. 80% it's your stage. You have to speak up. And that's what my key is. So if you want to speak, if you really want to put your thoughts forward and you want to improve, please make sure that join us on English Shari and you will get that real stage to speak. Which many people say that, Shruti, many learners come and tell me, "Ma'am, I don't have somebody to talk to." I say, "Come to me, I'll
True.
talk to you." So it's very simple. Connect. That's very
Yeah.
important.
Connect, exactly. Gone are the days when you have to tell people there are limited resources. No, we are
No,
blessed
no.
with abundance, right? I
True.
want to learn something that I've never learned in my life. I can learn it now. It's just that it's on you whether you want to learn with somebody who's already learned it or you want to start from scratch. If you want to start it from scratch and figure out everything yourself, it would take you a long time.
True.
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
why all the great people have mentors in their life and they give credit to their mentors because mentors actually act as a catalyst. They
True.
push you up. They're like,
Hmm.
okay, what I've done wrong, I'll not let you do that. So you're
Correct.
always
Exactly.
ahead. When you're starting yourself, you're starting from point A, but when
Correct.
starting with a mentor, you're starting from a point D maybe, because mentor
Correct.
would not teach you what is not important because he's tried. So that was the idea overall. And thank you so much for the lovely comments. Firstly, yeah, all of them were so crazy to ask questions. I tried asking you. Firstly, heartiest thankful I am to you for making time and being present here on this Sunday evening, for making this conversation special. Because if they listen to this carefully, I could learn so much from you today.
Oh my God.
Literally speaking, that how one can work on, how can we focus more practically, not theoretically. You have not told
True.
them to read a book, you have not told them listen to movies, stories, anything. You've told them how do they actually speak, which was the highlight for me in the session. I literally can't, I'm out of words right now, Miss Radhika,
Oh,
literally.
wow, that's so nice. And believe me, as you mentioned, I really do not believe in the theory part of it. And I'll tell my learners also, I'm not against theory, but make sure that you connect to your own self. You talk to your own self. You talk about your experiences to your own self. And believe me, that's the correct start. And then we can always build upon. So focus on the practicality. Keep it basic, simple, and sweet. No need to complicate. Please don't complicate.
Okay, so the idea of today's session was this: simple is beautiful and simple is effective. And no matter what you do, you're always going to be a unique person. So be a better person, be a wise person wherever you stay. And till then, keep learning. Any final mantra from your end? Any final tip from your side? Or maybe a
Yes,
goodbye
please
word?
make. Absolutely. Towards the end, I will just say one thing: be consistent, trust in yourself, and we are there to help you out. So just do it. That's all. Just do it. Stop thinking and start doing it. I wish you all the luck in your journey, and I'm super sure that you all will be fluent very soon.
Indeed. Till then, we wish you all the best, and I'll see you another Sunday with another mentor. And this one is going to be episode number 6. So, thank you so much for showing love. We have successfully completed 5 episodes today, marking with Radhika Bansil. And yes, all the best. Till then, bye bye. Stay happy.
Bye. Take